So, my question is, okay, can you share some tips or strategies that you used when your children were young on how you set that foundation for them to believe in God for themselves? And I'm asking this question because just doing some research and listening to some research that I have heard in the past few weeks, like because when kids become teenagers, they can't wait to not go to church, or they don't have the basic foundation principles of believing in God for themselves. So how did you set that? Like, what tips or strategies did you use when your kids were younger to set that foundation where it was rooted, no matter if you didn't believe, they were still going to believe? So that's what I wanted to know.
Oh, look at me now, huh?
No, you go ahead.
One of the things that I did, I was so, I understand about a plan for God, and I started Sunday school in my house. I started Sunday school in my house. So what I did was, I had the Bible out on the table, and I would read the Bible to them. And my kids I never played any secular music in my house. Never played no secular music. So they grew up only just hearing church music. And so they were so consumed with it because my prayer was, I wanted my kids to love God without me. And that's my prayer. I want them to love God, which means that if anything happened to me, I never want them to blame God for anything that happened to me. Like if mama died premature, they'll never say God killed my mama. I never want them to say that. I didn't want them to say if anything happened, this God did that to them, whatever stuff. So I grew them up, and they stayed in church. We did not miss no service. I didn't let them play no sports that they had to miss on a Wednesday night. They was constantly in church. And I taught them to interact with this. They just could not sit in church like most kids do. They had to clap their hands. They had to sing in the choir. They had to do whatever and stuff. They was very much involved. But we were so wrapped up in church that I didn't have to push it as bad because that's who we were. That's who we were. Brian learned how to play because he looked at his father every Sunday playing. He looked at his uncle, looked at people that he was around, and he just started playing. We didn't give him no lesson whatsoever. April wound up, when she was 2 years old, she was in the mirror directing the choir. I didn't even have to tell her that. She was already in the mirror because we were so consumed with teaching our kids about loving God and stuff. And, everybody just was already in position because I was not playing. I was not going to compromise. I was not going to let them be like everybody else. I didn't let them go over everybody's house. I was so careful with how anybody's lifestyle was that you're not going to put that on my child. And I got talked about real bad, but I did not care because I was determined. I wanted my daughters to be virgin. I should have kept the Lord up for my sons to stay virgin, but it was something about I wanted that, and I stuck my gun. And people did not like me. They talked about me, but I did not care, because I did it and stuff. And so then when they get much older, and even though the boys are not here, but they never a day without church. They never a day. They it's so embedded in them. They probably feel like a mushroom if they don't go to church on a Sunday. It's something they know it. They know it. So it's very much in them. They can't get away from it. They might act a fool sometimes, but they ain't gonna get away from it. But I kept that Bible. I read to them.
The environment.
I was
key.
so into it. I read to them that Bible. I taught them stuff. I even lined them up. I lined everybody up and taught them about manners and stuff. I was very much involved in their life. It wasn't like I was a substitute mama. So if anybody just looked at me like, oh, you're not a good mama, you shut up. I ain't got to prove myself to you. And I did the best I could do based on what I knew. But my prayer was, Lord, let them love God without me. That was very important because I didn't want them to depend on me. Like if mama decided to backslide, I didn't want them to backslide. So that's how I did that.
Yeah.